Hadn't won in Foxborough since what? Since we were there, man. 2008.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
It's been a minute since they won. So kudos for coming out of there with the victory. But it was not all peaches and cream. Wasn't all hunky dory. That offense struggled after those first two drives. And to be honest, after that first drive, I was hyped. We ran the ball down their throat. Jaylen looked good. The offensive line was coming off the ball. First two drives, we got down the field. We were getting chunks of yardage. We were getting our playmakers involved. And then all of a sudden, we stalled. And I cannot put a finger on why that is. Do you know why, Charlie?
See, this is in full transparency. Here's why I did not think that they would win this game. I thought after week 3, they would be 2-1. But I thought this was going to be the trap game because I thought the offense of Arthur Smith, with him being offensive coordinator while Mike Vrabel was down in Tennessee, that he would actually have a leg up and be one step ahead of Arthur Smith's offense, which turned out to be true because after that first quarter, as much as the Steelers dominated, that offense was pretty much dormant throughout the rest of the second half until you got to that final drive when they had to put it together. So that is just something that really they're going to have to continue to I know we're approaching the bye week after this Minnesota game, but they're going to have to do some self-evaluating to figure out, okay, why are they getting off to a fast start, which they scored three consecutive games with the opening drive touchdown, which is exciting because it's been non-existent for a long time here. But ultimately, now, how do you start but continue that? And that's something that they're going to really have to dive into.
I tweeted this out yesterday offensively. I do not feel like we have an identity. We have not identified what we do well. We adjust to the defense. They are supposed to adjust to us. It starts up front, but in general, we play a scary brand of offense that doesn't dictate anything. We react. That's kind of been the story the last few years, it seems to me. But this year especially, I would think under Arthur Smith in his second year at the helm calling plays, that we would have more explosive plays downfield, that we would attack the middle more, and that we would use our wide receivers. I don't think Scotty Miller has a target this year. I know Roman only has one, and we thought those guys were going to contribute. I don't know if they're barely seeing the field. We haven't seen Ben Skoranek since week 1 when he made that touchdown. And honestly, DK, all that money we paid him, all that assets we gave to Seattle to trade and bring him over, he only had 4 targets and 3 catches for 32 yards. Granted, one of them was a touchdown, absolutely needed it. But what is it about this offense that we cannot identify what we do well and continue to do that and impose our will on the defense?
Right. And one of those, he did have a big pass interference call that won't show up in the stat line as well. That gave the Steelers a new set of downs. But again, to your point, the numbers aren't where they are with that. He has 10 catches, 135 yards on the season. He does have 2 touchdowns. But again, you have to get him more involved. How do you do that? You have to be more successful on first down, but ultimately converting on third down. That's been a challenge that they've had through 3 games this year. And again, when you're that way, you're not really giving your defense a chance to rest by putting these drives together, not able to run the ball. This is what you're going to see. And I know a lot of people are frustrated. I know DK is probably starting to get frustrated. Yes, he's happy about the win. But again, to the point of he wants to contribute here more than what he's currently doing now. So there's going to be conversations, not just with Aaron Rodgers, but also Arthur Smith to say, hey, what do I need to do to be more involved in this particular offense? So that's going to be something that's going to continue to brew. And hopefully you start to see those numbers, catch up to what other people in the league are doing.
So I know the team had to get on the plane right away after this game to get over to Ireland for their game against Minnesota this weekend. But I know film has to be watched this week. The attitude of this team can't be one where it feels like we're coming off a victory. We're not watching film this week with a happy mindset, I think. I also tweeted this out the other day about a win is a win is a win. Granted, we won, but unless it looks like that, all of New England thinks they should have won that game. I saw so much stuff in social media about how they gave the game away, and they literally gave us the ball with the fumbles they had. Pittsburgh wouldn't have been surprised if we had lost. The way we played, that looked like a loss waiting to happen. And regardless, it feels a lot better going into this week 2-1 versus 1-2. I hope it can get worked out, but they got to watch film this week as if they lost.
Yeah, and I'm with you on that. I mean, even on the post-game show, we're taking the calls, and people were complaining as if we lost the game. Mm-hmm. That's how upset people were, and you're starting to see that. But to your point, yes, they have to look at it offensively to say, hey, man, we could have easily have lost this game. So don't sit back here and act like you've made it. You've been there. and you were made man. No, it's not. No, it's not at all because of the mistakes that were happening. 3 drives only in the first half. That's something that's unacceptable. But yet, again, they were just down, kind of tricking, trickling. I want to say trickling down the road or whatever. But again, it's one of those things to where when you hear Aaron and the big thing, especially in that second quarter, it was one of those things to where he said it felt like we were sitting on the bench for like 20 minutes.
Mhm.
I said it was more like 30 because they put a whole drive together. Then you go into the half, and yet you come out, you're stagnant in the second half, and then all of a sudden you create the turnover again. You're not being able to pick those things up consistently. Again, it goes a long way of saying yes, they definitely have to look at this film as if they lost it because there's a lot of work to do.
You know me for a while, Charlie. I'm an optimistic human being. I try to smile every day. My kids, I try to tell them to smile at people. It's been tough this year. If I'm being honest, and let's be truthful, are we a good team right now? A good offense?
We're not a good offense. We're doing enough to win.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not sustainable because there's going to be times that, hey, you got to outscore your opponents. And if that's the case, guess what? Okay, we proved that we can put over 30 points in a game. Great. Okay, now when you get to this particular point, yeah, you're able to stop people. You're able to get the conversions and score when needed. But again, you just don't have an identity. You can't turn around, feel comfortable handing the ball off to Jaylen Warren, knowing that he's going to pick up 4 yards or more. Mm-hmm. Right now, everything is all over the place, and they have to get that going because right now, when you are scouting this team, you don't know what you're preparing for because, again, there's not a threat on either end.
Right. Well,
on paper it is,
right,
but it's not a threat on either end right now based off the results that we're seeing.
Well, I'm going to keep on trying. I'm going to look at this half glass full right now. I know we've been talking about how bad they are. Are there any bright spots? I know Aaron went into 4th place all-time career passing touchdown, so that's pretty dope. He needs 20 more to catch Peyton Manning. Do you think he has a chance to get there this year? Do you think he could surpass that number and catch Peyton Manning?
I think he can, but he got to get on a hot streak, right? You need like 4 touchdowns back to back, and then a 3 touchdown, kind of getting you, closer to him. But also congratulations to Aaron Rodgers. Like you said, he passed Brett Favre, an all-time touchdown leader, also passed Phillip Rivers in the all-time yardage, and he's inching closer to Big Ben, there's some stats there. So, as much as we love Ben in that particular manner, but he's ultimately going to pass him at some particular point. But yes, he would have to get hot at the right time and really putting together a streak of those games. We've seen it happen. We've seen Ben throw 12 touchdowns in 2 games, when he had those back-to-back 6 touchdown performances. So it is something that can happen. But again, he just has to now get into that rhythm and ultimately, catch fire.
I love the general disposition, and we're continuing with this, trying to find the positives of the offensive side of the ball. I love the general disposition of Jaylen Warren, number 30, and how he runs the ball. I think he has the chance to be an elite back if he gets the type of blocking that would require him to have in order to be that. He is explosive whenever he gets his hands on the ball. And one thing that I do love is he's a really patient runner. He follows his blocks for the most part. So that's my positive outlook. Are there any other positive things about this offense that we can build upon?
Yeah, I'm going to start right there with you with Jaylen Warren because this is a guy, he is very similar to me, comparing him to Willie Parker with better hands. And that's the difference between those two. Both of them are explosive. We know Willie, his resume speaks for itself. But when I look at this young Jaylen Warren, this is a guy who has a 74-yard run under his belt. He ran for 70 in the preseason. We just saw him go for a catch and run for 65 yards last week. So when you have those type of things on your resume, coordinators are scared because they know you are a home run threat.
Right.
And because he is that way, they have to figure out a way to get him more involved. The difference is this is a completely different role than what he's had in the past because it was a good changeup to Najee Harris. Now you don't have that changeup because Caleb Johnson, that learning curve is a little slower than what they would like to be at this particular portion of the season. So they're not able to bring that big body in there. So essentially you're bringing in your 3rd down back with Gainwell. But, again, that could be Jaylen easily as a 3-down back. But at some point you have to spill him to make sure that he is fresh midway to the end of the season.
Yeah, right now we do not have a hammer. We don't have the thunder to Jaylen's lightning. I think Gainwell is just another version of lightning. And we are definitely missing that hammer that Najee was. Also, hope Najee, he had a pretty brutal injury. Godspeed, hope he recovers well. But speaking of Jaylen, he's also our leading receiver, which we talked about before the show is not necessarily a good thing. We haven't seen Scotty Miller. We haven't seen Ben Skowronek. These teams are running too high. What kind of route concepts, put your quarterback hat on for a second, what kind of route concepts can we run to get more of our receivers involved and to get DK more targets?
Yeah, but when you get a two shell, at some point you got to be able to turn that ball around and be able to pick 5 and 6 up. That's what you want because there's one man eliminated from the box. But when you get into those third and long situations, they're playing too high. There's some dagger concepts that you have to have, spot routes, coming in and sitting, attracting that outside linebacker, and then ultimately running an in route behind him to maybe take advantage of the middle of the field that way. Very tough to hit those channel routes, right? Your corners are too fast that they can play it, low and then break high and interrupt that and disrupt that corner route. So again, you have to take advantage of the middle, just like other offenses are taking advantage of our defenses. When they get a third down, they're hitting right down the middle, one-on-one, either with the linebacker or the safety. We have to take advantage of that because we actually have two solid receivers that we know, tight ends that we know that can get into the middle of the field with Freiermuth and Jonnu Smith. They have to continue to take advantage of those type of things, but also allowing, even a Roman Wilson, we haven't talked about him a lot, but to your point, hasn't been targeted much. Those are the guys that they have to be able to work on those inside routes to make sure that you're able to convert on third down, allowing them an opportunity for another set of downs.